Why am I looking at you? You're a picture in a frame. I make believe you're next to me, but I know it's not the same. Why am I looking at you?
I'm gonna go right in with a 2H pencil from Toys and Denor, if I'm saying that correctly. And I'm gonna draw a little circle. My camera was having trouble focusing. And there we go, focused. We're gonna draw a little circle right in the middle. And then we're gonna make these two bended lines, like they're going from the edges of the circle, but they're bending slightly outwards. Like so. And then we're gonna make a droopy line going through the middle of the circle. Now you could make it from the end of the circle, from the top of the circle. It really just depends where you want your nostrils. Then we're going to do a line connecting it. A line going upwards. This will be the edges of our nostrils. And then we're going to connect it up to the bridge of the nose. This one isn't entirely even, but that's okay because not every nose is perfectly symmetrical. Now I'm going to define where I want my nostrils by making just little loopy shapes. As you can see, I'm going to define the sides of the nose a little more, and the tip. I'm going to start my basic shading on the edges, just get the nose a little more flare, make it look a little more realistic, and just go around the edge. Now, using a high polymer eraser, I'm going to go ahead and erase any unnecessary guidelines that I had made before, leaving it more of an open concept. With noses, they're a little difficult, so I'm constantly tweaking my works. And I don't normally draw freestanding noses with like out of face, so this was kind of weird for me. Add some more light shading. Bottom. Now I'm going to use a B pencil from Graphite Drawings, and I'm going to define the nostrils with some darker shading, of course, and then I will continue with the rest of the shading. I'll go along the edges of the bridge, up where the eye corners would be. Now I'm going to get a blending stump. I've got a lot of them, and there are a lot of shapes and sizes to choose from. I ended up using a 1/4 with pointed edges. And I went ahead and just went to town shading, shaded out, and following the basic lines, using the hardest pressure and using lighter pressure where it wasn't necessary. But you can see this is starting to look a lot more like a nose and a lot less like a bunch of random shapes. Shading is key when it comes to facial features. More definition. And there you have it. The nose is done. At least the front view one. Never forget to sign your work, guys. And now I will be showing you a second technique I use for noses. This is the side view. I'll be starting with a 2H pencil, and I will be drawing a tiny circle. This one will be smaller. And then using a ruler, I will draw a second circle at a slight angle. It's hard to see, but it is at a very slight downward angle. Then I'm just gonna sketch a triangle that is 90 degrees. Straight on one side, leaning towards, and then do the bottom, sort of rounded-ish. And see, this is the tip of the nose that I'm defining right now. I don't know what my camera was doing, it was all over the place. And that's where the nose joins the face, that little tail at the bottom. Now I'm going to define the bridge of the nose, and I want this one to not be perfectly straight, so I'm just going to have a little bump and then a little end dip. And just sort of make sure that the nose aligns. As you see, I'm moving the tail. Now I'm going to try and define where I want my nostril. And I put this too far ahead, like it's too far close to the tip on the nose, and I'll realize this in a second. Here's me realizing that my nostril doesn't make sense and redrawing it and using the end of a mechanical pencil, because they have tiny erasers, to redraw the nostril where I want it. Much better. Use 2 lines to define it. And I'm bringing the second circle a little closer because I don't want the nose to be quite so long. Like I said, noses are a lot of trial and error. A lot of tweaking, because they are strangely difficult when it comes to drawing. Here I am mapping out my shading. I'm still using a 2H pencil. Just trying to give the nose the definition that I'm envisioning. Strangely enough, side views are actually harder for me than front views. I'm not really sure why. Going back in with a Byeeeee pencil and defining the edges a little more. And filling in the nostril real darkly. And adding this to my darkest points. Going back in with my 1/4 blending stump and shading the mess out of this. Like, you have to shade so much for noses. I'm gonna get carpal tunnel. Around the edges. I was getting kind of annoyed with this nose because it was really not what I was envisioning. I mean, it's obviously a nose, but it was just... it was not what I had pictured in my mind. So I kept on erasing little bits and highlights and just trying to get it to fit with what my mind was. And finally I was just like, okay, whatever. It's a nose. Yeah, like I said, I'm not used to drawing a nose without a face, so I was trying to like add sort of lips, like the hint of lips, so it would help me, but well, there it is. I decided to add a little more definition, and don't forget to sign your work, guys!